Greetings, patrons. Jonathan here. Hope this reaches all of you well. I'm out here on my back porch with my amazing fuzzy animal who's passed out in the sun. And I'm just wanting to send a simple video. Hopefully it's not too long. I'm going to try and move through it somewhat quickly, just with some updates on all things Patreon and the things that I have been able to do and continue to dream about and explore and invest time in because of your support and your coming alongside this work, this creative process. So I can't thank you enough for your trust in this journey. I am feeling stronger, more just more open, more available, more like there's just a lot moving because of some of what's been able to happen through Patreon. So thank you, each of you, for your trust and your support. So I'm going to move through some things here. Center to center necklaces, I've got all those finished for all of you who haven't received yours yet. I'm sending them out tomorrow, so hopefully you will get them this week. If you do not get them this week, please let me know by the end of the week if you don't get them. And if you still haven't received yours, or if yours broke, or this is still somewhat new for me to make these things. So if there's anything related to those, please let me know and we'll figure something out. I love making them. I love the process. So it's been fun to be doing that these last several days to get caught up. So you will be seeing those soon. Another quick update. So a lot of your support goes into a lot of my capacity to support some programming that I'm already a part of, whether it's through Walk to Connect or through other things. One of the things that I've been doing recently is supporting youth leaders in the San Luis Valley in southern Colorado. These are mostly young people who are deeply rooted from these rich communities that are in the just outside of San Luis and outside of Antonito, Colorado mostly, so in Conejos and Costilla County. And the youth leaders were all given a stipend to do summer walks focused on culture and heritage. And kids are mostly Chicano, Hispano, Native, Mexican mixed, and they have so much to teach and show and share and embody. It has been so amazing to support them. And so, part of the capacity to support them has been through a small grant that I was able to get through some stuff in the San Luis Valley. And a lot of that time is, it's not there's no salary. I don't live inside of salary time. I don't live inside of even hourly rate time. More so, there's a lot that goes into supporting that program and or the mission and the things that are connected to all of what's going on in the Valley. There's a lot of organizing around a major Supreme Court case to protect the rights of the families that live in this area, to have ongoing access to this large mountain that's been privately owned by a billionaire who wants to own a mountain range for play and recreation, which is just absurd to me. So I have spent a little bit of time supporting some of that in the last several months and within the last year, and am going to be opening up more of my time, hopefully, to help them fundraise and continue. So your effort on Patreon is directly helping me to have capacity to do that. So anytime, and I'm hoping as things, as I help to support a fundraising page and some other things, I'll get those links on the Patreon so you're connected to some of those, so you can support them more directly as well. Walk to Connect Co-op is going good. There's a lot of changes coming. I'll update you on those later in the next couple months, but there's a lot happening there. A lot of my time, again, this is not, there's just a lot of back-end things. There's a lot of volunteer time for all the co-op owners. So Walk to Connect, as many of you know, is a worker-owned cooperative. So there are 9 owners of the co-op, and we all give a certain amount of time that's unpaid to sustain the operations and the communications and everything that goes into inspiring and launching and moving 60 to 100 walks happening every week. There's tons of walking leaders out there, tons of partners. It's amazing, and it's a lot. And so I hope each of you feel a part of Walk to Connect because of the time that I put in and the other owners put in. That isn't supported financially. That is just, it's gift. It's in service, and it's in movement alongside our desire to see more people walking and connecting. Writing. So I have, as many of you know, I have finished drafting the preface, introduction, 4 chapters of this book. The drafting title is Walking as Wisdom. Not sure that's the best title. I've pitched it in front of a couple publishers, haven't heard anything back. And so I'm continuing to pick away at that. I've been working on chapter 5 a little bit. I've been editing some of the chapters. I've actually gotten a couple really good people, a couple of you who are on here, to offer to just really help me think through how to do that. I find myself to be more of a poet artist than I do a book writer. It's overwhelming for I'm such a body type, so things are just in my body, and it's body based and vibration based, and so putting it into words is into that kind of word structure is just it's just hard. But I'm making progress, and I'm getting there with your help. So thank you for, again, your support to help me protect time to be doing that. I'm working on more poetry. I want to collect all those poems. So I think I put on Patreon, if we get to 100 patrons, then I'm going to create a little mini booklet of the poems and send them out to all y'all. So if you got friends and peers that you think would dig this invitation through Intrinsic Paths, please spread the word. I would love it. I would love it. I would love to get those poems out there. So Patreon training. So I'm really getting more involved with Patreon in terms of, I've been signing up to a lot of their trainings. I'm actually going to be going out to their conference in November. It's called PatreCon, but it's just more hands-on training for how to support and come up with creative ideas to keep this community active and engaged, and to invite more creative people along. So I'm really, really energized to be moving inside of Patreon in really, really cool ways. So I've got a lot of ideas for what's coming in the next several months. So you will be seeing some of that through this. As many of you know, as I've shared in kind of the intro, but for those that are new to this and who've just joined, Patreon, and why Patreon, it has been so good to have a non-transactional way of being supported to put creative work, creative time, mission work, vocation into the air, into the frequencies that are all around us, into my relationships, into the work. I understand the need, just the practical, tangible need for transactional reality in the real world. I get it. I activate in contracts. I do that all the time. But I am deeply rooted in wanting to be a part of how we put mission, how we put people, how we put heart, how we put spirit, how we put ritual, how we put culture, how we put justice, how we put the wisdom, these deeper things first before we put dollar signs all around it. And so Patreon to me is a way to have this moving, fluid relationship where there's no, it's not about how much I'm sending you versus how much you're sending me. It's you're a part of the journey, you're a part of the process, and there's this field of trust that moves between the two spaces. So it's integrity on my part, it's ownership on my part to be a steward of what's coming in, and it's a trust and an openness to be a steward of what's going out on your side of this. And I'm so grateful for the people who are behind Patreon to be creating and supporting artists and creators and people who are on the edges and margins of some of this stuff, who just don't, and can't to some degree fit into that transactional way of exchanging money. So it's just a quick snippet. I'm rambling. It's 10 minutes. Okay, next. There are a couple things I've been able to really specifically. So I was supporting for several months, early in the spring, early summer, a young man who was in transition. Some of the Patreon dollars went directly to support just food, overhead, some of the costs to get some of his stuff, back on track. Some of you might know who he is. He's an amazing young man. His name's Ram. So you were directly a part of that at the end of the spring, early summer. There's others that I've connected with, patrons, some of you that I'm doing some projects for where this support directly goes into that. And I'm eager to be connected to each of you in that way. So if there's ideas, around walking routes, around different reflections or different themes, please reach out, because I'd love to have some of that relationship building along the way. Just got back from training a month ago, training 75 walking leaders with the Center for Action and Contemplation in Albuquerque. And then this last weekend they had a big conference, and 55 of those leaders were activated to lead meditative and contemplative walks. And so I see Patreon and your support kind of coming alongside a lot of what's in between all of that. The CAC was wonderful in supporting some of the specifics of that work, but there's a lot of relationship building, there's a lot of flow, there's a lot of grassroots invitation that's going to live through those relationships. And so you are a part of me being able to hold some of that space, which is great. There's a lot of other things, but that's just a quick recap on some stuff that's been going on. As I mentioned before, I have a lot of ideas for the end of this year and then going into next year for how I want to create and move content and information on Patreon. So you're going to be seeing a lot more from me in the terms of hopefully walking invitations, walking related reflections. I'm going to be doing a lot more walking and getting out and storytelling, so I'm going to be doing hopefully more storytelling that you'll be invited into. I have a lot more, I'm going to be doing a lot more writing. So there's a lot happening, and I've got a lot of ideas for how to directly lay that out on the table for a lot of you. So that's exciting. And the last thing, really, I just would love to open it up to what ideas you have related to some of the themes inside of this invitation. So I've really centered it around human dignity, vulnerability, nature, connection, protection, spirit. I think I mentioned vulnerability. And so anything within those themes, I'm also going to be putting some what I call radical pedestrianism in there too. I have a lot of desire to be out showcasing some of the chaos of what pedestrians face every day. So some of that will be interlacing, but those are the themes, and it moves through writing and walking, invitation, and reflecting. So if there's anything within that space that comes to you that is just interesting, or you have an idea, please let me know. And please feel free to comment on the page, engage on it. I really hope this becomes a community of connecting and learning together, and going deeper together. There's a lot of need for more depth in our relationships and in our spirit, in our world, in our time, and leaning into these themes as we think about creating a more beloved world, a more beloved community, a more inclusive, open, radically relational community. So please share your ideas and comment and be a part of it to the best that you can, as much as you want to. And again, as always, this is all in flow. So there's no, be just beyond invited to be updating your relationship to Patreon as you need to, as you want to. Please invite people to it, share the page with your peers if you find that this would be just a meaningful invitation for them. And again, just endless gratitude to each of you for your support and your trust and your belief in what moves through some of my steps in the world. So, 15 minutes. Hope that's not too long. have a peaceful evening, and we'll be connected soon. Thanks. Peace.